J.P. Morgan. In order to talk about J.P. Morgan, we must first talk about the influential family that raised Morgan. The wealth and power of the Morgan family dates back years to before John Pierpont Morgan was born. Morgan's grandfather, John Pierpont, was a famous radicalist and poet. He would influence the way Morgan spoke out, a skill that would come in handy for J.P. Morgan. But perhaps the wealthiest and most influential person in Morgan's life was his father, Junius Spencer Morgan, who was a respected banker and businessman in both the American and European banking industries. He was largely the reason why Morgan got into the banking industry. John Pierpont Morgan was born into this wealthy and influential family on April 17, 1837 in Hartford, Connecticut to two loving parents, Junius Spencer Morgan and Juliet Pierpont. Although having it all, caring parents, wealth, and even a set future, it seemed like Morgan was set. But at a very young age, Morgan started to have medical problems. One of his medical problems, acne rosacea, which was also his most visible condition, ruptured the blood vessel in his nose, leaving it looking disfigured. And the 19th century lacking treatment, there was so little that could be done. Although having many insecurities, Morgan did not let that stop him from building a multi-million-dollar monopoly. After school, Morgan began his banking career on Wall Street, taking advantage of the American market and using connection he had due to his father. Soon, Morgan outgrew the small firm in which he was working. So in 1861, Morgan started his own company, J. Pierpont Morgan and Company. As his business grew, it seemed like Morgan's life was going according to plan. That all came crashing down on February 17, 1862. The death of his wife, Amelia Sturgis, plunged Morgan into a deep depression, causing him to go back to Wall Street and spend 2 years trying to grow his reputation. With the start of the American Civil War, Morgan sparked a lot of controversy as he was viewed as a traitor for his sketchy business work with Simon Stevens. But to truly understand the impact of J.P. Morgan, we have a look as to when he started his first huge company with Anthony Drexel. In 1871, Drexel and Morgan formed Drexel, Morgan and Company. With his huge success, Morgan was making nearly $500,000 a year. Morgan believed that the railroad industry could prosper, so he started investing into these railroad industry to influence them. With the death of his father in 1890, he inherited $15 million, and Morgan was able to monopolize the railroad industry by merging the railroads. He also invested in many other industries like electricity and steel. In 1901, Morgan bought Carnegie Steel for $480 million, which he later merged to create U.S. Steel, the first billion-dollar company. Without a doubt, Morgan was one of the richest and most influential people in the world at the time, which is why he was depicted in different ways. Many people viewed him as a captain of industry because he saved the U.S. economy and stopped the U.S. from collapsing. Not only did Morgan save the economy, but he was also a given person, as he also donated to a lot of charities and public institutions like schools and museums. But Morgan also gained a reputation of a robber baron since the Civil War, when Morgan was caught doing unethical business work involving hundreds of rifles. Not only that, but many people, since Morgan was able to influence a majority of the banking industry and the railroad industry, it was said that Morgan obtained this by eliminating competition, by cutting wages and workforce to increase profit. Many people even have stated that the working conditions were very poor. Morgan was later revealed to have controlled nearly $22 billion of capital. In his final days, Morgan endured a lot of criticism until he finally passed away on March 31, 1913 in Rome. At the time of his death, it was stated that his net worth was around $80 million, equivalent to $2.4 billion in today's time.